Oh, hi everyone. Thank you for coming. And the purpose of me doing this event is to share who I've become as an enroller and the impact it's had for me, to invite hopefully all of you, or at least some of you, to come and be a part of that. We've got Dave with us this evening, who will be one of the speakers at Birmingham next year, and the one and only Mr. Matt Smith will be joining us at some point to say a few words. One of the things that happened for me was, as being an enroller, was just meeting incredible people, some of which are on here, people who I wouldn't have met otherwise. And on the back of being an enroller for India in an unofficial capacity, I'm now head enroller for Birmingham in May next year. I cannot wait to be in Birmingham next year. It's going to be an incredible event. It's going to be the second two-day event, as the first will be in Arizona in January, for those that can make it to Arizona. And that experience for any of us that have been to any of the events before has been absolutely life-changing. In Birmingham next year, we have 1,500 places, 1,500 tickets, 1,500 people to be in that room. And we enroll every day. We enroll ourselves, we enroll our clients, we enroll for our events, our webinars. So part of what I want to do today is share what I've seen for myself and what I've learned from being around the most incredible enrollers, which is Fiona, Dave, Matt, Steve Hardison, and Ankush. And our Nick Bottini here, he's also a powerful enroller. So Matt will be joining us to just let a few more people in here. Matt Evans will be joining us at the end to just tell us a little bit more about the Birmingham event next year and get us all excited about that. And at the end, I'm going to tell you how you can become involved if you'd like to do that. I've also got something really, really exciting to share. I wasn't expecting to be able to share this, and the fact that I am has blown my mind a little bit. We've got an incredible offer for those that want to come in and be an enroller, as if the journey isn't enough. So last year on November the 8th, Steve Hardison took a call with Ranjan for the India event. And it's called The Midnight Miracle. If you haven't listened to it, I'd encourage you to go and listen to it, or even go and listen to it again. Because this was the real catalyst for me in seeing who I could become as an enroller. And I approached Ranjan at the time and I asked him how I could help for India. And Ranjan said to me, he said, "Thank you. Thank you for offering to help." So I thought, okay, I'm going to see how I can do this unofficially. And I decided to start enrolling for India, and I didn't expect what was to come. I reached out to my coach at the time, Ankush, and he suggested to me that I start telling people why they should be in India. And I started to do some videos, and I found something really interesting. I found that the people who I interviewed, and some of you are here, were the people that were moved the most to be in India. The people I had the conversations with. The videos were powerful anyway, but those real conversations, they had the most power. And I began to realize that the most important things is the things that we see for ourselves. And that's my invitation at the moment. If you don't have a pen and paper, to take a pen and paper and write down anything that occurs to you today that you can use for whatever you're doing with your own enrollment. Because what you hear for yourself is going to be a lot more important than anything I say. That's where the gold is. And that's what I began to realize through working with Ankush, through re-listening to the videos, is I hear what I need to hear for where I am today. So that would be my first invitation. And Ankush said something really interesting to me when I told him that I wanted to enroll for India. He said, you're going to have amazing things show up that you didn't expect from being part of this enrollment process. And I said, well, that's not why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it for what's going to show up. I'm doing it to be of service to India. I want people to go to India. I want people to experience what I experienced in London, to have that shift. And he said, no, just wait. He said, I can't tell you what it will be, but things are going to start showing up that you didn't expect. And the words that stuck in my mind was, you can't outgive the universe. He said, try it, test it, see what happens. And what happened was I began to connect to people who I wouldn't have expected to have conversations with. I got calls from Steve Hardison. I connected to Dave Orton, who was this character in a book for me at that point. And through the experience of India, has become just an amazing and very close friend of mine. And I stood on stage in India and spoke. And I'm not saying if anyone's going to help and become an enroller for Birmingham, they're going to end up on stage. But you will have things that you never predicted. And I couldn't have predicted that. I didn't know I'd be on stage in India from being an unofficial enroller. Who would have expected that? And I didn't do it for that reason. But what happened is I was able to impact people. And that was the biggest gift I was given. So I'm going to go through a few things that I've learned through Ankush's school about enrollment and through my experience as an enroller for India, now for Birmingham, and for previous events. And these are things that can be used whether you're enrolling people in coaching, your events, seminars, anywhere. So listen between what I say, see what comes up, write down any ideas, because that's where the gold lies. And the first thing I remember Kush telling me is use warm contacts. I get a lot of, I'm sure you all do, invitations from people online saying that they can create lead generators, that they can put me in contact with people to market. And I was running an event. I think the first event we did was in 2008, and this was a big sporting event in South England. And we had to sell around 2,000 tickets. And first of all, we threw a load of money at radio adverts. And then we made flyers and went and put them through letterboxes. And we maybe sold a handful of tickets. And then we tried putting posters up on lampposts. And then we went out in town and held out flyers. Still nothing was really working. And then what happened when we started to sell the tickets is we asked every single person that was part of the event to go and sell 25 tickets. And guess what happened in 2 or 3 days? Not only were they gone, we didn't have enough tickets. And this is what I realized for India is we all need to be part of that team. If we're part of the Being movement, if we're part of this, that enrollment isn't about selling. It's about giving, and it's about loving. Whether that's your coaching or whether that is part of the Birmingham team, whether that is the groups you're filling up, you're loving and you're giving what you have to offer. You're not trying to get someone on board to give you money. You're giving the person an experience. And when I come from that angle with India, everything changed. I was able to come from a place of, if you're in that room, you're going to get what I had. If you come to the room, you've read the book, you read the front cover, you've read the back cover, you've experienced the book, you come into the room, you're going to get what I had. You're going to have that incredible change. Who wouldn't want to pass that on to the people in their life, to other people, as many people as possible? And people don't want to be sold to, but they do want the opportunity to change the lives of those around them that they love. Really good example that's coming up is Nick told me about a program he was running. And one of the first things that went through my mind was, who in my world would love to be on that? And who would it serve around me? Because I want them to have the experience of Nick that I've had. And when you create your events or your coaching or your seminars, think about who would love to be there and how much it would serve them rather than who you can sell to. You have a different outlook, a different energy. You're bringing something to the table that is really valuable to the person in front of you. And that was one of the things I learned. And the next thing that Ankush has taught me, and I didn't understand this at first, is who's the first person you need to enroll? Yeah. First person I needed to enroll was myself. And I really got this with India because I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to tell everyone how great Birmingham is, so they're going to want to go. I didn't even cross my mind to go myself. India's miles away. I've never been out of the country. India, no, I can't even imagine going there. And when I decided, okay, I'm going to make this happen, I don't know how I'm going to pay for the airplane tickets. I don't know how I'm going to pay for the hotel, but I'm going to get the tickets and I'm going to create it and I'm going to make it happen. So I'm going to enroll me. And from that, I had another load of miracles happen. And I know someone who's on this call with us here, Wolfgang, experienced something really similar, that when he set that in motion, that he enrolled himself, Wolfgang wasn't going to be coming to India. And I'm sure Wolfgang would agree that going to India absolutely changed his life by enrolling him first. And that's the same with your coaching and with your webinars and with your immersions. You are your first client. You're the first person. The first person we create is the creator. We create the creator. And that's a big part of what we're doing with the Being movement is we create our documents. For our documents, we get up every morning, we say our document, we create ourselves every single day. And that is a big part of enrollment. It's a big part of the process of being in the room. Just a little side note I've got here. When Dave come over to see me, he was carrying a little flip cards, and I've made flip cards now of my document. Thanks, Dave. Another thing taught to me on the school by Ankush that I found really, really useful is to be exceptional value. And we can often start out when we're coaching or we're creating events as knowing what we want to charge for them. And I've done this with my, this isn't self-promotion whatsoever, so I'm not going to say the name of it, but I run a webinar, and both Nick and Ankush I was working with at the time told me to keep it really low ticket. And I know when I speak about my webinars that I can know for sure that they're worth 10, 20, 30, 100 times more than people are getting for the price that I pay, the price that I charge. So being exceptional value means that we speak about something differently. So when you're speaking to someone about your coaching, when you're speaking to someone about being in your group, know what they're going to get, know what the offer is. How is it going to impact them? How is it going to change? Who are they going to be if they take this on completely? What's the possibilities for them? And that's the place I came from on the enrollment with India. That's where I'm coming with from Birmingham. I know whoever's in the room in Birmingham and the enrollers and the people that come with me, they've got something exceptional to pass on to people in their life, because anyone that's in that room, their life is going to change if they're in the room in a way of listening that's powerful. I think Leonard is having a little bit of trouble connecting. I'll bring him back. So how can you add more value? How can you add to your programs or your coaching things that people didn't expect? And there's going to be an example of this at the end as I'm being able to add something in that I didn't expect to be able to add in today. But value that we didn't speak about when I invited you all to be here. And the next thing that I've learned about enrollment is go first. When I was looking for a coach and when I bought my ticket for London, nobody sold to me. I took on my coach and I joined Ankush's school because of who he was being in the world. I wanted to work with Nick because of who he was being in the world. When you're being that person anyway, people want that. They want to be around you. It's magnetic. I went after Kush and I asked him, I said, what will it take for me to work with you? And he said, I'm full. So I pestered him. I actually pestered him to take me on. And Nick didn't come to me and ask me if I wanted to do some coaching with him. I looked at Nick, I thought, oh my God, who is Nick Bettini being right now? Give me some of that. I want that energy. And I went and found him, because who he was being in the world, because who he was working with, because of what he was doing, because the change he was being in the world. And that makes people want to come and be part of that. Steve Hardison never went out and advertised and marketed the events or the book. He told people what was possible for them if they read the book, if they would be at the events. There was never a sale there, because who wouldn't want to be that? And when we can come from that place, it's really easy. It's easy for me to speak into Birmingham. It's easy for me to speak into what I'm doing, because I can understand what the person in front of me is going to get. I'm going to throw open for some questions soon, but I've got just a few more things, because I don't want to just waffle on for the entire hour. I want it to be a bit interactive. So just a few more things, because I find these have been so important to me. You can't give too much away. And I remember being really worried about this when I first started coaching and running my events. Is, oh, well, if I tell everyone everything in the first conversation, or I put too much in the material about what it's about, nobody's going to want to come. And what I found is it's the complete opposite. This is something that Kush has told me over and over again. And I believe that he's got this from his mentors, which is both Steve's. And that we don't kind of walk around with these secrets that we wait for people to pay us and then we give it to them. The more we put on the table straight in front of someone, the more they want. I know Wolfgang's just hearted, but Wolfgang is such a good example here. You can join Wolfgang's groups, but also you can join Wolfgang on his webinars without a charge. He does this regularly as a service to the group. I know if any of you were to, for example, go and get Kush's, I promise he hasn't paid me to say this, but if you were to go and get his brochure for the coaching school, you would get so much value just from reading the brochure. Even for those that are in the school, if you were to go and read it again with a pen and paper, there's a huge amount of information in there. The videos that he has with the masterclass people that he puts out free of charge, huge amount of information. And they haven't stopped him selling out on the school. They've made people want to come and join. So you can't give too much away. And another thing that I found is people don't want to be, I said people don't want to be served to, but what people do want is what I found. Most of us, especially in this community, is we want to serve others. And one of the most powerful things we can do is share an opening in whatever that might be through whatever we're doing for people to be able to share with others. So I can't see Sean at the moment, but for example, Sean teaching people how they could share what he does with movement, how they could help people within their life move more freely. And they can then pass that value on. That is more valuable to someone than just giving them information. Because we all love to share. We all want to be the person that makes someone else's life better. Well, at least most of us do. Why we do what we do, why we bring people together, why we're part of the Being movement, why Otto and Susie work together with other couples. We want to make life better for someone else. So if we're doing a webinar or a group or an immersion and we're creating something that somebody else can pass on, people come to that quicker than if they're just kind of going in and to learn something for themselves. All of us as coaches, we want to know how to be better coaches so we can impact more people, so that we can all rise together. So when you're creating your seminar, your selling points, your enrollments, think about what the benefit is for the people around the person that you're speaking to, not just them. Are they going to be a better partner, a better parent, a better son or daughter, a better employee? How are they going to impact the world around them? Because we all want to do that. Well, so I've got 2 more points that I want to go over to make us stronger as enrollers. And the first one of those is really, really important one, is having the right people on the bus. And this is another one I didn't really get when I first heard it. And when I first started trying to fill my coaching practice, who can I speak to? Where can I go? Whose life can I improve? Oh, here's a person there that's going to speak to this person. But actually, working with people who want to set the world on fire has been more powerful. And that's who I work, defining who I want to work with. I want to work with people that want to set the world on fire. And when I work with these people, they get more value. They go further because I'm sure about who I want to be around. When I create an event, I know the type of people I want on there. I know who's going to get the most value out of it. And being willing to turn people away if they're not going to get value out of it. A really, really good example from the Ultimate Coach book is where Steve was turned away from the forum initially because he wasn't being the person he needed to be to get the value out of the forum. When Steve spoke in London, he spoke about how people who hadn't read the front and the back of the book will just hear speakers speaking. They'll decide whether they like the speakers or whether they don't like the speakers, whether it's interesting, whether it wasn't interesting. However, the people that had read the book and heard it about them, transformational. So really, really important to have the right people on the bus and in the room and in your groups and in your coaching. And one of the most important points, one of the most important to me was when we were on the last school, Anka showed us a video, and I can try and track the video down. Any of you that have received my PDF notes from the final weekend of year 1, the video's linked it in there. And I know Sean and Nick obviously were in the room with me. Showed us a video about black and white selling, black and white marketing. And to go all white, we really look for the service for the person in front of us. It's not about taking their money, not about tricking them into being in the room or tricking them to come and be with us. We go all white. And this is how I like to do everything. And this is a more impactful way, is we serve from love. We don't hold back. We're the person that we want to be around. We become the person we want to learn from. And we look to others that are already being there. Thank you, Nick. Nick has linked the video into the chat. See that service. Thank you very much, Nick. And when we come from that place every day, you know, it just changes us. And to just link back to why I become an enroller for India was to get people in the room for India. And what happened is I become the official lead enroller for Birmingham. So just before should we do questions? Let's go for some questions first, and then I will share with you my big surprise that I've got that I didn't expect to be able to share, that's come via Matt and Fiona. And I think Matt's coming along shortly as well to speak to us. So on that note, does anyone have any questions that I might be able to explore with you on enrolling, on Birmingham, on filling your events, on filling your practice? Is there anything we might be able to explore here? You've got some incredible minds in the room here. This is a good opportunity.
So I have a question for you, Angie. How do we, just from your perspective, how do we keep enrolling when we may not feel super excited ourselves?
So would that be in a context of an event, or would that be in a context of our own business?
Sure. Yes, it could be in either context. You know, sometimes like there are things that I need to do in my business that I really don't like doing. And how do I enroll myself in those things? Is that something that's possible?
What is it about the work that you do that drew you to it?
Well, the coaching part of my business, I love that. It's the bookkeeping parts that I really struggle to want to have anything to do with.
Yeah, I get that. And it's actually been Nick that's helped me with that one. Nick is an incredible organizer, and he's taught me how to schedule that in. And when I schedule it in like a coaching session, I tend to just do it because it's there, it's in black and white, and whether I want to or not, it's an appointment and it's a commitment. And when I'm my document, I am my commitment to me. So that's what's helped me with doing the bookkeeping side.
So I'm hearing be committed and set aside, like create space for it.
It's worked for me because I was really procrastinating and falling behind on that side of things with practice. So it's definitely what's worked for me to do that. Has anybody else got anything else they do to help motivate them for to do the bookkeeping side and the admin side of their coaching? Everyone's very quiet tonight, aren't they? Nick, what was it that you saw when you encouraged me to schedule it in.
I've heard Ankush talk a lot about systems, and the systems themselves can be different for different people, but I've definitely found that if I'm really committed to something, part of that commitment involves some kind of system that I like and that I want to stick with. And it doesn't need to be complicated, but there's something about the act of creating a system that's just functional, that helps me, or that helps people see it through to the end, to the point. So like say, like with enrollment, if we're trying to aim for a certain number of people, we have a system that is fit for purpose until we've spoken to enough people, or put in enough time, or made enough invitations, or so it doesn't, I don't know if it's a particular form that the system needs to take, but part of it seems to be involved in creating a system that we want to be using. So that whenever I've spoken with people about that and they found something that they genuinely are enrolled in themselves, then they stick with it, and then the system works, and then they're truly committed. That's all I know to be true around that. And the individual bits don't, it can look different for individual people, but having a system that works seems to be powerful.
Another word coming up, which is something we've learned from the school, is what gets measured. What gets measured gets done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave. Hi, Janine.
Hi, Angie. Thank you. This is great. I've got loads of notes, and so my question is, I would love my sister and my friends to come to Birmingham next year, because I went to the London event and I've spoken about the value I've got, and a lot of them are really money conscious, and all they see is the money side of it, of how much, oh, well, it's expensive. And I'm like, yeah, but the value you'll get, it's life-changing. You know, what would you pay to be? So how would you kind of and kind of get them to hear something different that I'm not saying? It's kind of, I feel it just falls on deaf ears, my passion about it, and the value I got. And I just wondered, is there a different way I could be talking about it?
So what's coming up for me, there's a couple of things in there. So the first thing that comes up for me, again, is something that Ankush speaks into, is it's never about the money.
No, yeah.
Because if we didn't have a car, £500 wouldn't look about like that much. So it's about people really understanding what they're going to get out of it. And when I did the interview with Dave for India, you can still find that. It's on my YouTube channel. Dave and I had something in common, is we bought the tickets and then worried about how we were going to get there. And the whole experience of working out how we were going to get there, how we were going to create ourselves to be in that event, that in itself was life-changing. Before we'd even got there, we saw a lot of new things in there. It become really valuable. We didn't lose any money from buying our ticket. We created this incredible environment where we went into this space of creativity, of playfulness, of who we would need to be to create that money.
Yeah. Because I did the same. I think I had about £10 in my account. I would have done that. It was left after I bought my ticket. I thought, I haven't got the money to buy my ticket, but you know what, I'm buying it, and I will find the money somehow to live this month. And I did the same.
Yeah, we can be incredibly resourceful when we want something and we commit to something. And I don't know about you, but what I found is it starts coming in from ways I never even expected. I start to see things I didn't see before because I put myself into that space of creativity. I start seeing opportunities and meeting people I didn't know before, and just I've had real miracles happen in my life just by committing and buying a ticket first and then worrying about the logistics later.
Yeah. Mm.
So I don't know if they would watch it or if it would be of any interest, but I'm happy to send the link of Dave speaking into this for India and how he created his ticket money.
Okay, yeah. Hopefully it would help. Yeah. That'd be great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Wolfgang, hello.
Hello, good evening. I actually would like to say something what Dave said before. What I heard from Dave is how can we do something when we sometimes don't feel like doing it? So it's not always, there is sometimes times when we do that and sometimes when we don't do them. And what I heard from Nick is systems. What it's what I would like to say about it is it's habits. When we establish habits and we just do it, it doesn't matter anymore if we like it or don't like it. Sometimes I don't like journaling at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's just a habit, so I do it anyway. It's like I take it out, I put it on the desk. It's a habit. I cannot not do it. So to create a habit in this way that we do things because we understand it's part of it and it's a commitment and we are the word. But over time, when we are establishing a habit, we don't even think of it's like it's a system where we do something in a way and we actually do it automatically. So I just wanted to speak into that. And Angie, this what you're speaking today is gold. Thank you very much. It helps me a lot in creating and going into it. And by the way, what you and Dave, the interview I heard in January was gold. It was so finding possibilities for myself. Thank you for that interview so, and when we step up in enrollment, I think we already become an example for the people. That's also powerful when we do something what we never did and other people see that. And what was very vulnerable for me, seeing you both speaking about not knowing how to do it, that really encouraged me thinking of possibilities, not knowing it for myself. So honesty and vulnerability are so key in that whole process. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Program?
Got somebody who's not quite.
Yeah,
Is
Carrie, Carrie, could you? There we go.
Oh, thank you.
And Jade's here. Woo! Hey, Jade.
Hi, Jade.
Katrin, you had your hand up, but you've put your hand down. Was your question answered, or is there still?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Good to see you. Yeah, I think I got my answer. I just love Dave's question about how we actually enroll ourselves in the first place. Because I've been struggling about that. I feel like I've been procrastinating in when it comes to starting my school for coaches. And I've been in the tasks of how long should it be, the fee, or everything practical. But I realized now when you are talking about scheduling it and actually make a system for creating it, I realized that I hadn't taken my time to block out time to actually sit down and enroll myself in my own school. like creating something I really would attend myself, and that I could just, in the first place, I could block out time in my calendar and just empty myself when it comes to what I have learned, what I have get out of my journey as a coach. And like you said, you just put everything on the table that you really can help other people with. And then I could create a school of that.
Something
instead of
around
the-
that, actually, that I'm going to come back to Nick Bottini again, because he is a big part of my life at the moment, as he is my coach. And when I wanted to launch my program, Nick had said to me, right, when are you going to launch? I said, well, I've got to create the brochure, I've got to work out what's going to be, I've got to work out how long it's going to be, how much it's going to cost, who's going to be in it. And he said to me, right, launch this afternoon. I was like, excuse me? And he went, launch this afternoon. He said, just do it. He just said, push the button on it, go and speak to the people you need to speak to, get it done. And do you know what happened? I filled all the places within 10 days. I could have procrastinated over that for another 2-3 months. I could have made pretty brochures. I could have made websites. I could have made pages. And instead, thanks to Nick, I just went, oh, okay. And I went and did it. And that was the game changer. And for any of you that are starting coaching, starting events, go and push the button. And I would imagine that Matt Evans would be able, who's just joined us, would be able to speak into that as well, about how Birmingham was created, that you've got to just go and push the button. The big red scary button sometimes.
I think it's more like a Putin scaled nuclear button when it comes to what we've launched with Birmingham. So yeah, I can agree with everything. You know, we could have held off with every reason why we shouldn't have launched Birmingham, and we had to just go at some point. We go. You know, we could have procrastinated to the point of we need everything ready, but to have everything ready for an event like this would have taken us 2 years probably, without having any kind of applied need and, you know, force and purpose and everything else. So just go. And you know what? If you don't just go, you will spend triple the time faffing with everything and every reason why not.
Yeah, that's right.
And honestly, I think for me, one of the biggest things that I had to overcome was that fear of failure. The what if it all goes wrong, and you will come up with a million reasons of everything that will go wrong, that can go wrong, that might go wrong, that probably should go wrong. And you'll always go down to that ego level of, how does it look for me? What will people think of me if it goes tits up? And get over it. Shit will go wrong at some point. Everything will go sideways at some point, and you'll still be fine. It'll all be okay. And, you know, believe me, I'm living this every day. It's huge. And it's the most amazing thing to do in the world. So, like I say, you know, you're right. Just Nick, completely. Just start. Get on with it.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Catherine. We've got Rundown in. So I just want to share quickly before I pass over to Matt, who hopefully can tell you a little bit more about what we're doing in Birmingham, that I have set up a Facebook group and I'll be inviting people over. This Facebook group is for anyone that commits to selling. We're not selling, we're enrolling. And that's an important thing as well for this, actually, is when you use the word selling, you come with a different energy than when you're enrolling. Really important. And I did that completely on purpose, just to fit that in. So the page will be for anyone that commits to enrolling 10 people in their life, in their world, in their business, and it will have original content in there. It will have interviews, it will have videos. I'm promising a lot now, so I'm going to be delivering a lot to you also, which I'm really, really excited about. I can't tell you all the details right now, is we've got some incredible people that have agreed to donate certain items, certain gifts, some quite valuable gifts to the top enrollers, which is really, really exciting for us. So could I please ask if anybody would like to commit to enrolling 10 people, would like to be part of the group, that they just put their name in the chat box, and Jay just very kindly dropped in to make a note of anybody that would like to be part of that, and this will go out to anybody watching the recording. So if you're watching the recording and you'd like to be part of the group, please drop me a message and we will put you over into the group. You're going to have access to content on enrollment. You're going to have access to things that are going on in the group, and best of all, the thank you gifts that are going to be there for those that commit. So I will, if it's okay, Renate, I'll pass to Matt and then I'll come back to you. Is that okay?
Well, hey, I'm good. Just go with that. I'm just going to find something.
Oh, well,
Give me 30 seconds.
Coming back to Matt in a minute then. So Renate, would you like to unmute?
Hi.
Hi.
Angie, you are an angel. You have been my angel when I saw you in Wales, and you keep doing that. This training just came to the right side, to the right time, because I'm, as you know, I'm creating Room 509 in Thailand, and as an understatement, I'm struggling.
Okay, Renate, can I make a suggestion to
Yes.
you? And how about drop a message and we'll meet for an hour and I'll see what we can do to help you with the enrollment process for Thailand. How does that sound?
Okay, you are a double angel.
Let's do it.
I know, I got this today almost as a present, an angel wing. Now I know why. I love you.
Good to see you again, Renate. And thank you for everything you're doing for 509 and for the being movement and the breathing. Thank you. Otto.
Hey, Angie, great meeting. Love this.
Hello.
My question is about what you were talking about with the idea of warm contacts. So whether it's this event that you're talking about in Birmingham or the event that I'm getting ready to create with the incredible Susie. So warm contacts, there's when I think of people in my world, there's people that are close friends who may or may not have an interest at all in what Susie and I are about to create. And then there's acquaintances, people that I know in my world who I don't talk to on a regular basis. This is in the real world. Then there's online of people that same thing, people that I interact with on a regular basis, people that I'm acquaintances with that I don't have much personal interaction. It's we're cordial, we're social on Facebook or whatever social media. But I'd love to hear more about that, of the warm contacts. What do you say? I mean, you just call somebody up, you reach out to them on Facebook Messenger, you send them a message and say, hey, we've got this incredible event that we're going to be doing. I wanted to see if this is going to be something you'd be interested in. I mean, because context is everything, as we're learning in the school. And if there's no context, they're going to wonder, what in the heck is up with this? So I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit or give some feedback about, warm contacts, that kind of thing. And hopefully that makes sense, or my question makes sense.
I'm just drawing a little diagram here of something that, again, I'm going back to Kush, but something that Kush taught us in the first school I found really, really helpful around this. And it was an absolute game changer. So he drew, I don't know if you can see this, I'm going to try and hold it to the camera. He drew his little circle like this.
Okay.
In that middle circle are all your contacts. Say your contacts are around 250 people. And then the contacts of your contacts, if they're all in contact with 250 people, that gives you a field plane of 6,250 people. And then if you take all of your contacts, they're then in contact with over 1 million people. And those people can be speaking about you. There are people that are working with me right now who I didn't even know 2 or 3 months ago. They've come to me through people I know, people in my world. And some of those people, they're in this circle out here. And what Kush said to us that struck a chord is, guess where most people are trying to find clients and people to enroll is over here.
Mm.
And when we think that we've got that level of contact to over 1 million people, and maybe we only work with, say, 600 to 1,000 people are in our entire career, finding them it's not that many. Some of us only work with 20 to 30 people per year.
So reaching out to somebody that, you know, even if they're in our immediate contact, some people are going to be familiar with what we're up to, some not. So this is just our immediate group of folks that would know us, like us, trust us. Is that fair to say?
Well,
That they would know us, like us, trust us already.
I don't really reach out. What I found is more powerful than reaching out. And I used to reach out. I used to sit down on a Monday morning with my little purple book and go, right, who can I reach out today? Who can I have a conversation with? And what I do now is I just put out content and I serve and I show people what I'm doing, and I create things that people are going to want to be around, want to see. When I created my PDF from the last weekend, I sent it out to 158 people. And they were all people that come to me either via someone else or just because I'd put a post up on Facebook saying, I'm going to give you this. There's no strings attached. I maybe had a conversation with 15 to 20 of those people that I sent the PDF out, but I hope the people I sent it to got stacks and stacks of value from it. And when I do that and I step into that energy of just service, I find I don't really need to do very much. The people who I can serve, they want more because I'm already giving it and I'm not holding back. I don't know if that's helpful at all, but that's just what I found to be true for me.
Okay. Yeah, that is helpful.
Thank you. I'm going to drop to Matt because I'm now getting conscious of time, and then happy to take 1 or 2 more questions after if there's still anybody that's got the time and has anything else.
You know, I'm a man of few words. I don't have much to say. Evening all. A, Angie, thank you for running this. B, thank you to all of you for making the time on this and, you know, knowing some of the things that are going on around it and how it links to the Birmingham event. I'm genuinely grateful for all of you to kind of to be part of this, you know, whether you're coming along, whether you're spreading the word about Birmingham or whether you're kind of you know, just letting other people know, and you're not going to be there either way. It's amazing to have you all here, so thank you. Couple of things actually. I mean, one of the things that I did just hear with Otto, one thing that I will always say, and you know, I'm no professional coach, but in my land and where I come from, I live in supply chain, and there's 2 modes of supply. You either push or you pull. Push is normally associated with a little bit more force and it takes a bit more effort as a push system. Pull is always about flow and seen as the better way to do it. And I think, you know, this whole enrollment thing, I'm learning it myself, believe me. I don't have a Scooby about enrollment, hence why 1,500 people is kind of a big ask, and I'm learning on the fly. But there is an element about pulling and being far more in flow. Coming from that point of service and not having to force your issue, it's such a different feel. It's a real interesting point for me. Birmingham, what do we want to know? What have you teed up so far, Angie?
I haven't said a lot about the event itself. We've talked about enrollment. I've talked about how my experience of being in the room in London, in India, was impactful, and how I want that for other people, and how I know others want that for people in their life. And that power of enrollment really coming from that place of, I want everyone to experience this.
Okay. So, can you let me present? Can you stick me on?
If you want to talk me through how to do it.
I think you just need to make me as a host.
Okay.
Just right click on me.
I got you.
And I'm now the host, so that means that I should be able to put this on. So this is talking about enrollment. Okay, I'm about to share with you a deck that not many people have seen. And in here is a few slides that are actually what we've used as a team putting this event together to tell that story. And the big thing for me that I found in, getting this event off the ground, telling the story of where we've come from and what we want to achieve, and then what other people can get from it, it's been a real change. We've managed to get a few people on board that we wouldn't have ever imagined and create some really good things from the start. So if I can get my new laptop to play, just hold 1 second. Now. Just, where is it on here? Stop video, reactions, whiteboards, notes. Where has it gone? All right, who's a Zoom genius? Here we are, share screen. Right, so if I share screen 1. And now if I do this, right, someone let me know if you see this.
See?
Can you see a picture of a big lake?
Yep.
Okay. If you look down the left corner by that lake, you can see what is an artist's impression of Dave in the gold bikini. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. So Birmingham, this is the deck that we've used with a couple of people. So we've shown this to a couple of speakers to enroll them, and we've shown this to the ICC to try and wangle some extra preferential terms out of them. And this will give you an idea of where it came from. So this all started with us being part of the Beam movement, and the work that we all know and love with Alan and Steve and Amy, and how it's grown to be a connected set of people. And the biggest thing for myself, Fiona, the people that are involved in London, Ranjan, I've seen him on here. It's massive in that we have created some enormous charitable donations, and all of us who are involved in all of this, the biggest thing that we love is about serving the people in the room and knowing that we're serving the communities that we're around. It's enormous. And when we talk about how we enroll people into these things, we cannot underestimate the power that creates with people. So London, we handed over 26,000. In India, Ranjan handed over a check for 25,000, I think it was. The power that it gives to say, we aren't doing this as a profit-making thing. This is not just a load of people trying to get rich. it is doing some good in the world. It comes from a place of absolute service. And that's one of the things that blows most people away when we talk about these events. So Birmingham, what we're planning on is 2 days of not wall to wall. We're actually creating space for people. We're looking at this being, 9 in the morning till 5 at night type of thing. We're not going to jam it full, and we're not going to have people in their seats till 8 o'clock. We're giving people the space. We want to make it so that we can work around it. We've got the Friday, we've got the Saturday night, we've got the Sunday night. This whole thing is designed to be 3 days of absolute, gold on stage, gold in the workshops, and gold in the connections as well. We're lining up sub areas where we can go on the Saturday night. We're getting all sorts of things set up so that we can have people and space to actually all get together and be together properly. We don't want everyone to be knackered and just want to go to bed. We want to have that connection. It's a huge event, and we want it to be a personal event. If anyone saw London, this was kind of the layout that we had in London, and it was brilliant. And we put it together in 3 months. And after London, all of us came away going, we did that in 3 months. What could we do if we had like a year? And honestly, I don't remember much about this because I was running around all day, and I still am kind of like, what the hell happened? So I'll skip the Alan Thompson part. That's a 5-minute video. So this is the real crux of Birmingham for me. And actually, we created the event, and we didn't know where the charity was going to be going to. And then I had one of those, 2:30, woke up in the middle of the night and went, oh, shit. Grabbed a copy of the book, well, Kindle, and I remembered there was a chapter in there called Listening, and there's a really good little quote at the end of the chapter that talks about a little girl who couldn't hear a doorbell, and it just hit me like a lightning bolt. In Birmingham, about 800 yards away from the ICC, is Birmingham Children's Hospital, and they have this cochlear implant team who, and I'll say it's a medical, miracle in what they can do, that they gift children their hearing. There's no other way to describe it. They've performed over 1,500 miracles basically since they were formed in 1990, and they're the people who actually did the implants for my daughter. So the little story that we can say is around Jess. So Jess is upstairs at the minute out of the way, which is probably a good thing because she is a little ball of energy. But she was born under some kind of extreme circumstance. So, when Jess was born, it was pretty heavy going, and she had to be in a cooling suit for 3 days. And this is her kind of 1 day old. And yeah, she had to be cooled because her birth was pretty traumatic, blood transfusions, and we didn't know she was coming out basically. And as she was growing up, we knew that she was profoundly deaf. So when she was 10 days old, we had to, go through the whole rigmarole of her newborn hearing tests, and she completely failed them. And they said to us, well, she needs a lot more testing because we can't really say what she can hear. So the first diagnosis we had was that she couldn't hear a jet engine. It was that bad. And, as a parent, the first thing you kind of instantly think is, oh my God, what's that even mean? How's that going to affect her life, our life, and everything? And from a personal point of view, I've got a very musical background, and I was like, sounds daft. One of the first things I thought was, will she ever enjoy music? So yeah, we had a few years of testing with Jess, and they diagnosed her with this very rare condition called auditory neuropathy spectrum disorder, and I still struggle to say it 9 years on. And one of the things with that condition is they say, well, cochlear implants may be able to help. So the actual condition means that her hearing is like a badly tuned radio. It's really staticky. It can come in, it can come out. And the description that we've heard from kind of other children who have got the condition and have cochlear implants and can now communicate it is they say, you know, day to day, hour to hour, almost minute to minute, their hearing could change. You know, some point in time, they could hear, you know, most words, even though it wouldn't be good. And then other points in time, they couldn't get anything. It was so sporadic. So we had a choice to go through what was happening. And we made that choice. So this is Jess about 2 hours before her surgery, looking all happy and smiley and raring to go. And little did she know what was really about to hit her. And this is Jess the next day after her surgery. And that's her little sister, complete with sympathetic bandages to go along with her. And that's what actually is after the surgery. You know, they go in, they kind of do a lot of work between the skull and between the ear, and they put the implants actually straight through into her ear canal and where her cochlea is. So you can see here, this is actually the inside of Jess's head. And that's the implant under her skin. And you can see that it goes all the way through and round. And all those little electrodes are little nodes that fire that help with her hearing. So that is literally a cochlear implant. And this is her now, probably about a year ago. And honestly, the gift that this hearing has given her, I can't use words to describe it. You know, when she was 4, we could barely get any form of usable words. It was a real struggle to communicate with her. It was, let's not use the word, it was painful as a parent. And I mean that as in it was painful for, you know, thinking about how her life was going to be. And actually, you know, this decision we made 4 years ago now, still the best decision we have ever made in our lives, for us and for her. So, you know, when we talk about running Birmingham, there's this whole thing about 1,500 people in the room, and we are going to create 2 days of absolute gold for those people. And the money that we will raise to then hand over to this children's hospital to do this type of work, it will truly be life-changing for the children, the parents, the families, everyone around these kids who goes through, you know, this hospital. It's not just ripples. Like I say, it's a tsunami in the effect that this makes in their lives. So, you know, this for me is, when I talk about Birmingham, it is truly something that is, I can't even describe how big it is to me personally, you know, from what they've done and from what we want to do. So yeah, it really is 2 days of creating pure magic for everyone in the room and the people out the room. Stop that. So when we talk about enrolling people and what Birmingham is, you know, you can get a feel for, we want to create the biggest, best, most impactful, being focused 2 days for anyone who turns up. We want people to go out of that entire event just going, damn, what hit me, and then have revelations for weeks after. You know, that's what I got out of the first one in London. You know, in London, even though I couldn't really take it all in, the process of being part of it for me was just incredible, learning left, right, and centre. And I've got the same again, incredible learning left, right, and centre going through this. And we want to give that to every single person who attends. So when we talk about what Birmingham means and what Birmingham can be, I guarantee to anyone who shows up and listens, it will be absolutely life-changing. And for everyone who does attend, they create that life-changing amount of donation to go on and change everyone else's lives. So, you know, when we talk about why we're doing this, There's 1,502 reasons plus thousands more. So I don't know whether that gives everyone a little bit of a flavour of what we're trying to achieve and why, but that's the kind of quick overview, people. I mean, if anyone's got any questions, absolutely fire them away. I'm glad to have all of you here and be able to kind of say these things, let alone have everyone with us next year. So any questions, feel free.
Thank you, Matt. Beginning to think you explained it so incredibly, Matt, that everyone's clear.
Either that or they're going, oh God, who's this nutter?
If there are no more questions, then we can finish up, and I would just thank Matt, thank all of you, thank everyone for being here, especially thank you everyone that's committed to enrollment and anyone that's going to be in Birmingham. And the only one other thing I would say is, and I'm going to speak this as many times as I get the opportunity to do, we're supporting Birmingham by buying our ticket as early as we possibly can, because Matt's going to have really, really big pockets if we don't sell early. So thank you everyone for coming, and if there's anything more you want to know, please feel free to reach out to myself or Dave or Matt, and thank you again for being here.
Thank you, Angie. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Angie.